And as the crisis on our southern border continues, big time tonight, Lawrence Jones, he went to the U.S.-Mexico border in Laredo, Texas, where he got a briefing from Border Patrol officials, real people that put their lives on the line for us on the ground every day. Want to listen to them or these people in Congress that have never been there? Take a look.
There's been a lot of reports about the crisis. Is it really a crisis?
Yes, there's absolutely a crisis on the border. Without a doubt, there's a national security crisis, there's a humanitarian crisis, and there's what we like to call a policy crisis. The humanitarian crisis you see every day, it's all over the news. It's a number of family units and children coming across, giving themselves up to Border Patrol. And the reason why they do that is because they know the laws that we have today will allow them to stay in the United States. The asylum law, the law for the Trafficking in Victims and Protection Rights Act, TVPRA, those laws have lost their integrity. And what they do is they bring the family units and the children into the country. We can only hold them Border Patrol for 72 hours. After those 72 hours, we have to turn them over to another agency, usually ICE, ERO, or Health and Human Services. And because of those laws, they can only hold family units and unaccompanied children for 20 days.
And you said they know this.
Yes. So when I say they, the immigrants that are trying to come to the border, giving themselves up at the border, they know that. They hear it from the transcriminal organizations. They're very organized. They're very smart. They always know what law enforcement is doing to try to stop their criminal activity. So they know that loophole in these laws. Out of approximately 170 miles of border in Laredo, we have 30% of that actually has a road that we can drive on that's on the border. And it's not one solid road. It's 5 miles here, then you get a 10-mile break, and then another 5 miles. It is very difficult for us to know what is coming across our border if we can't drive on our border. The situational awareness as far as technology. Our cameras that we currently have cover 30% of our area. So we have situational awareness of 30% of our area. There's 70% of that 170 miles that we're not sure what's coming in and what's coming across. And as you can see, the river's right there. That's Mexico on the far south side, and we're standing on the road in the United States. It'll take you about 4, 5, 6 seconds to do this 40-yard dash to get into a vehicle.
And then they're off.
Right. Then they're either off into the neighborhood or around the other way, or they can just go right into these houses that are right up here. And they lead to the stash houses, which are deplorable conditions that they're stuffed into without any food, without any water for days at a time. This is where the kidnapping happens. This is where being held for ransom happens. This is where the rapes happen, and they're put in these deplorable conditions. But as you can see, what we're facing, 40-yard stretch, there's nothing to slow them down in any way. There's vegetation everywhere, so we don't have the situational awareness. We don't have the impedance and denial. And then the response and resolve, well, we have that, but we have about 10, 15 seconds of it. We need more.
And this is why you say you need all parts of the border wall system for this to actually work. The camera right here.
Yes, sir.
We were talking about this earlier when we were in the eyes room, showing us everything right there. So you got the camera there to detect sometimes what's going on. How long does it take you to get here?
That's just it. If we don't have enough personnel working this area and there's one guy that's assigned to maybe a 2-mile radius, and if we're on the other side of that area, it could take us 5 minutes to get here. If it takes us 5 minutes to get here, I guarantee you that they're going to be either in a house or a vehicle on their way somewhere into the United States.
Joining us now tonight live from Laredo, Texas is Fox News reporter, contributor Lawrence Jones. Also with us from Mission, Texas, Customs and Border Protection, Rio Grande Valley Acting Chief Patrol Agent Raul Ortiz, who I had the honor of meeting when I was down at that sector with President Trump. Good to see you again, sir. Lawrence, let me go to you. Is there any one Border Patrol agent, these are the guys on the ground, that believes this is a manufactured crisis, or are they all saying pretty much what you just reported?
Sean, they didn't just tell me that it was a crisis. They actually showed me the crisis on the border. I'm standing right on the border by the Rio Grande. It's right behind me. And they showed me over 200 arrests almost yesterday made right here. But the big thing, Sean, is the tragedy here. They're responsible for covering 100% of the Laredo sector. But they can only confidently patrol 30% of that Laredo sector. That means 70% of that is open for criminals to come. Now, I was back in their eyes room where they monitored the border to see what's actually happening. We saw numerous legal activity, but they just couldn't get there because they don't have the resources, Sean.
Yeah, and if I can, Raul, good to see you again, and it was an honor to meet you.
Good to see you.
When the Yuma sector only had 5 miles of border walls, and then they moved it to 70 miles, it was a 99% success rate stopping illegal immigration. When I was down there with you, what is it, a 1 minute walk across shallow water to get from Mexico to the U.S.?
Yeah, if that. It's a quick jaunt across the river here in Mission, Texas.
Yeah, and what are you seeing every day? Because we're hearing from all these media people. I've been down to the border at least a dozen, 13, 14 times, I don't remember. Helicopter, all-terrain vehicles, horseback, on foot. I've watched arrests. I've been to drug warehouses. I've seen it all. You're on the ground. Is this a manufactured crisis, or is the media and the Democratic Party lying to the American people? Or misinforming? Maybe I don't want to put you in the position that I'm in, which is telling just raw truth here.
Yeah, certainly we're experiencing a crisis right now. So far, this sector has already seen 141,000 apprehensions this fiscal year. Just in the last 24 hours, we've made over 1,200 arrests. We seized 30 pounds of cocaine, 400 pounds of marijuana, and as I was preparing to have this conversation with you, I had agents working 6 different groups, and we apprehended a group of about 100 right just south of us within the last 30 to 45 minutes.
Is it fair to say your agents are overwhelmed? Is it fair to say that what they are doing, I mean, that's a lot of money in drugs. 90% of our heroin crosses that border. Those cartels are known to be extraordinarily violent. Do they risk their lives in doing this job, and are they overwhelmed?
Yeah, most definitely. On any given day, we may have 1,000 agents patrolling in a 24-hour period, but I also have to expend about 400 agents to perform this humanitarian mission that we are responsible for right now. So definitely our resources are stretched. We have some significant help right now from our DoD partners, as well as the Coast Guard, FEMA, the Office of Field Operations, our customs officers, our ICE officers out there, but all of us are stretched awfully thin right now. We need to make some changes to the loopholes out there.
Especially
we
your
need
sector.
to deter this traffic from actually crossing.
If you can't make it across that river in 45 seconds, I mean, it's nuts. All right, thank you. Please tell your men thank you for all they do for us every day. Lawrence, you got some breaking news. What's going on in Laredo?
Yeah, right here while we're doing this here right now, Sean, we just got word with the agents that are with us, keeping us safe, that there is an attempt to cross the border right now. I'm actually going out with these same agents for a ride along, because as you know, a lot of these criminals come out at night to make these crossings right now. But right in the middle of this breaking news right here, exclusively on Hannity, an attempt to cross the border right here on the Laredo sector.
And you're going to be, I'm sure, be getting video and hopefully reporting for us tomorrow night. Thank you both for that update, and thank you both for being with us. We have a lot more news tonight. An update on the college admission scam. Lori Loughlin and actress Felicity Huffman were in court today. Trace Gallagher with a full report. Democrats pushing for the release of the Mueller report, unredacted. Really, Congressman Nunes and Jordan respond, and an update on Alec Baldwin. Lara Logan.